Breitling have launched some new watches. So let's see what they've got. Welcome back to Bark and Jack, I'm Adrian, and today we're looking at Breitling. And Breitling's not really a brand that I've looked at all, as I'm not really a fan of what they do. Despite the fact I grew up really idolising Breitling and the marketing, the branding around Breitling. I used to be a complete aviation geek. I used to read RAF newspapers, I used to buy aviation magazines, and they'd be littered with Tag Heuers and Breitling adverts. And the Navitimer was a watch that I really started to kind of just idolise. I thought it was an incredible piece. I'm talking about like when I was 12, 13. But then I grew up and realised that the Breitling brand just wasn't really anything I had a connection with or any interest in whatsoever. I saw that Breitling just went down this route of being far too large and really quite gaudy, and that just wasn't something that I was interested in. So completely ignored Breitling. Despite the fact that the Navitimer is still quite a cool watch, actually, and I guess the Navitimer range is something that's kind of stayed true to what I see of old Breitling. Back in 2017, they appointed a new CEO, a chap called Georges Kern, and I guess within the transition of that and with the production of watches, now we really should be seeing what George's vision is. So I guess these watches are his work. So we've got 4 watches to check out from Breitling. And before we get into them, this video is sponsored by barkandjack.shop. Over at barkandjack.shop, we have a whole range of leather and NATO straps along with watch accessories. Jump over to barkandjack.shop and check out the straps and accessories that we have over there. So the first watch we're going to look at is a SuperOcean Heritage 57. Now the press release, the press releases are always quite cringy, but let's see what these guys have to say. So it says, Breitling announces the launch of its Breitling SuperOcean Heritage 57 capsule collection, whose watches take their design inspiration from the brand's original SuperOcean from 1957. They also embody cool, laid-back surfing lifestyle of the 50s and 60s. So they're obviously trying to bring back that very chilled out, that hipstery, that kind of Californian surfery vibe and era of the early surfer years. But then we look at the watch. I do not get those vibes at all from this piece. Let's first look at some of the specs to give a bigger picture of what this watch is about. So the case is 42mm wide and pretty much 10mm deep, 9.99mm deep. We have a water resistance of 10 bar, so 100 meters. And the crown is a non-screwed down crown. And they're making a point saying it has 2 gaskets, but it's not screwed down. We have a bi-directional bezel with the inset being either black or blue ceramic. The movement inside, Breitling are calling it the Breitling Caliber 10, but actually this is just an ETA 2892-A2. It's got 42 hours of power reserve and it is COSC certified. My initial thoughts on this watch, and I'm basing it pretty much on what you've seen. I've read the PDF, I've seen the photographs, and I've watched the movie. That's it. I have not seen the watches in real life, and it's very hard to pass comment on a watch when you've not seen it in the flesh, but such is life. The pros that I think stand out on this watch are the design of the dial and of the hands. I think they have a cool retro look about them, and I do actually like the dial and the hands. I do like the fact it has a COSC certified movement inside. The cons on this watch are, it's going to have to start with the bezel. The bezel is horrible. I don't, maybe my mind will change if I see it in real life, but I do think no, I don't like the bezel. I also think that the fact it has SuperOcean, it's got ocean in the name, it's talking about a surfing watch, yet it only has 100 meters of water resistance, doesn't have a screw down crown. I think that is pretty poor. Also, the limited edition is just not for me. Not for me. I'm going to give these watches scores, and I'll rate this watch 4 out of 10. I'm sure some people will like it. For me, it's a hard miss for me. The next watch we're going to look at is a Chronomat, and this was a very iconic watch when I was growing up. So it's interesting to see this version of it. So the press release says the Chronomat has a significant place in Breitling's history. Breitling placed a bold bet on an impressive mechanical watch that proved to be a winner and became an icon of its era. Nearly 40 years later, the redesigned Chronomat is set to appeal to today's generation of men and women with purpose, action and style. I hate press releases. This watch is a bit more promising. We have a 42mm wide case, that's 15.1mm deep. It has a water resistance of 20 bar, so 200 meters. The case back is sapphire crystal and screwed down, and then we have a crown that is a screw down crown, a screw down locking crown. The bezel is unidirectional and it has these 4 riders at 12, 3, 6 and 9. And these protrude from the bezel, supposedly to add more grip to the bezel and to allow it to kind of protect the sapphire crystal. That's what the marketing stuff says. On paper, the movement inside this watch does sound pretty decent. It's an in-house Breitling Caliber 01. It's a COSC certified column wheel chronograph with 70 hours of power reserve. So that sounds pretty tasty. So I actually think this is a very decent looking watch, and this is what I picture Breitling to be. I think there's enough busyness in this watch to make it interesting, despite the fact that actually the overall thing is a relatively plain Jane of a watch. It's quite a commercial watch, and this should sell quite well. I do like the fact that you can adjust the bezel, so you can actually remove the 15 on the bezel and remove the 45, swap them round so you can decide whether you want a countdown or a count up on the bezel. The bracelet, I really don't like this bracelet. Again, my thoughts might change when I see it in person, but I think styling wise this would be so much better on a leather strap. I think that would be quite cool. Good looking watch, but it's a shame it's so thick, so I'm going to give it 6 out of 10. The next watch that we have up is the Navitimer 35. This is marketed as a ladies watch, being 35mm wide, and also you'll see all the designs that are going on. It's quite obviously aimed at the ladies, but it kind of stood out as a fairly decent looking watch. So they're saying Breitling is proud to present the elegant 35mm Navitimer automatic, designed for women of style, action and purpose. I'm pretty sure that's what they said about the previous watch. I can't write copy myself. I don't know how hard it is to write copy and be creative around stuff like that. But it just doesn't do anything for me. I just see it as BS. I don't know. Maybe I'm just very cynical and don't like stuff like this. Maybe that's the problem. This watch is obviously 35mm wide. It is 9.92mm deep. It has a water resistance of 30 meters, only 3 bar. And the bezel is a bidirectional slide rule. The watch is powered by the Breitling Caliber 17, which is actually an ETA 2824-2. And it has a 38-hour power reserve, but it is COSC certified. So although they're going off the shelf, they are getting the good off the shelf movements. This watch isn't designed for me. I do like my smaller watches, but this watch isn't for me. So my thoughts on it are pretty pointless. I do like the fact it's COSC certified. I really like the dial actually, and I think the colorways that they have on the dial are absolutely brilliant. But my favorite color by far is a blue burst dial. I love the touch of gold in it. I love the blue along with the silver and the white, and then there's little red details that they have on it. I think that is a stunning looking watch. Absolutely stunning looking watch. I'd give this watch a 6 out of 10, but it's a pointless mark because it's not for me. The next watch was actually launched last month, and this is the new Top Time. So Breitling's press release said this about the Top Time. When the original Breitling Top Time was launched in the 1960s, it was a watch with a clear mission. We are designing a superb range of ultra-modern chronographs led by a completely new model, the Top Time. And now Breitling is reintroducing the Top Time, a collector's favourite with one of the most recognisable dials in all of watchmaking, if they say so themselves. This watch is 41mm wide and it is 14.27mm deep. We have a 3-bar water resistance, 30 meters. We have a non-screw down locking crown. The movement inside it is a Breitling Caliber 23. And it is automatic with a 48-hour power reserve, and it is also COSC certified like the rest of them. Again, this is not a Breitling Caliber movement. This is an ETA 7753. I think this watch is stunning. Absolutely stunning. Obviously save the best of last. I love the sector dial. I love the off-white with the blue. I love the red touches. I love the red section of the sub-dial. I really like that vintage case, and I love those fairly dainty vintage pushers that we have for the chronograph, and also that oversized vintage crown. I'd give this watch a score of 8.5 out of 10. The dial marks are for the thickness of the watch and also it being potentially quite large lug to lug, but design-wise I think it is absolutely stunning. I really do like. I mean, I think you can tell I'm a big fan of this watch, and I'm going to get in contact with Breitling and see if I can borrow a Top Time, because this is certainly one that I'd like to check out. So that's my little roundup of what Breitling's launched. Breitling did launch some other watches as well, but they didn't really do anything for me, and there was nothing that really stood out that wanted to talk about them. So if you want to check them out, go jump over the Breitling's website. I'm sure they're over there. But these are the ones that kind of stood out as being a little bit more interesting. Guys, drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of these watches. And I'd also like to know what your thoughts are of Breitling as a whole. Are they pulling it back from their really oversized, gaudy crap that they were doing before? Are they making better looking watches now? They're certainly doing more stuff in-house. Guys, if you like this video, then hit that thumbs up button. If you like the style of this video, then hit that subscribe button down the bottom there and a little bell icon so you get notifications when I drop a new video. If you want to check out previous videos and articles, jump over to barkandjack.com. If you want to check out the straps and accessories that we sell for watches, jump over to barkandjack.shop. If you want to carry on the conversation, then join the Facebook group, which is called Drinking Coffee and Talking Watches. If you're on Instagram, give me a follow at barkandjack, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.